Hey Saber fam, ta-da! I have a beautiful Helvtica Customs Satele Shan reveal for you today. This is for Mr. Sokalski. He's been wanting this to be done for quite some time.
Nothing prepared me to face that enemy.
Neopixel Proffie. He doesn't know yet. This neopixel blade plug is a nice little gift for him. I had a super long Saber Forge blade plug laying around. Like, you know what? He needs a blade plug for this. So, I'm going to go ahead and throw a blade in there for you. Beautiful too. As soon as you undo retention, pops right out. Slides out like butter. The blade retention on this is kind of goofy, the hole for it. It's not quite 1 inch, it's more like 0.99, which it's around that range with that custom saber blade, custom saber shop blade. You gotta sand it down a little bit for it to fit. It reminds me a lot of the KR Sabers flagship. Turn off this light. So you can tell it has a beautiful flicker that matches the hum of this. Got localized lockup. It's only locking up from here to there, similar to how if you were locking up in real life. Force effects. And a custom music track made specifically for this saber by Mr. Sokalski.
This is General Kenobi. So presumptuous.
I love that. So, first one, these three blade styles, the first three I'm going to show you are ones that Aaron made himself, and then Aaron, the two Aarons, made the other three. So there's 6 blades presets total with a battery indicator style. Wait for it. Obi-Wan likes to throw in quotes on this lockup. I almost forgot to show you drag tip. I'll show you drag tip on green.
Missed me.
Nice.
You'll move.
Love it. He also made a custom track for this one as well. Awesome.
Begun. The Clone Wars has.
And then his Lesson of Betrayal font. Localized lockup for it as well. Force effects. And another custom track.
Yes. Have you come with questions? Very well.
This should
Close your
hit some
eyes.
nostalgia for you guys.
Feel this ship around you. Listen to my words. Hear the sound of the handmaidens training in the cargo hold. Breathing the blinded one as she meditates in the dark. Now, listen deeper, past her breathing.
I'm not going to play the whole track, but you get the idea.
Luke Skywalker.
Next one. In case it's Luke Skywalker. So, the drag tip. I think that drag tip's showing it pretty well on that. There we go. This also has localize. Now, I want to point this out. This font, this one, right here, this font with the Luke Skywalker. Sorry, I had to. This one, the next one, Half Flex, and the last one, Rogue Vader, I'm just putting on here for demo purposes. I'm not going to be sending those with. That is going to be for Aaron to change at his own leisure. Just going to put the defaults on there. This just, he wanted these three colors and it went really well. So, this of course has the Jabba Sail Barge music, which is so much nostalgia there. There you are, Chewie. I always gotta wait for Chewie.
Young Ray.
Then the last one you may have noticed it had the white base spark. This also has the white base spark with a subtle flicker. It's still flickering, but it's more subtle. White flash on clash. Localized lockup. Blaster. Force effects. And it has the Ray training music from The Last Jedi.
Lord Vader.
And the last one, Lord Vader. Love it. Let's see how the drag tip shows up in this. Oh yeah. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Then regular lockup. Blindingly bright, by the way. God, that looks so great in video. Oh, it looks so awesome. Then for the music, that's just a static red, no flickering, pulsing, nothing. And for Rogue Vader, you gotta have this scene. Whoops, I accidentally turned it off. Oh well, you get the picture. And the last one is just the teensy boot sound with the battery level indicator. So it's green, is essentially fully charged. It'll be up here. As it gets lower, it goes blue, then yellow, and all the way down to red. So,
It is not my
then
time to
back to
die.
that. So, I must say, this saber was a long time coming. This is the part where it's probably going to get a little boring for some of you. For the ones who want to stick around and learn a little bit, you're welcome to hang out. Love it. I just love it. So, I'm going to pause this and be right back with Allen wrenches. Alright, so this has the Matthew McGeary mod, which allows for it to function more like a prism than a Proffie. So, lockup is hold down auxiliary, which is this button. Blaster is actually main, it's an auxiliary, which is fine because, it makes sense. You're, blaster, 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 blaster. It's more fluid if it's the same as that. Oh man, where to start with this? Let's go with the simple stuff. So, for recharge port, you're probably wondering where the heck's the recharge port, kill switch, all that. So, while this is a beautiful saber, and mostly user-friendly, I will say that I accidentally hit the auxiliary button sometimes. I'll also say that. I will say that I did have a fair amount of disappointments with this saber from Helvtica. Not the saber itself, but their overall customer service, I guess you could say. So, it has metric socket head screws. Remove the cap. Have your kill switch, so it is now off.
There is power in stillness.
You have your 1.3mm recharge port, micro SD, and SD card access. Also 3D printed a little holder down here to stabilize the chassis even more on the inside. May have not been necessary, but it helps. Now, you will notice that the activation and auxiliary is these little half moons here. Well, that is not the half moons that was supposed to come with this. The half moons that are supposed to come with this are, well, it's more like a crescent moon. What's supposed to come with this is a professionally machined brass insert that fits perfectly down in there and utilizes the Goth chassis. Well, they only include one. Maybe if you specify that you need two, they will, but they only included one for my client. And he did not even know that that's what that was for. So I was I was asking Helvtica to send me those brass plungers because I was under the assumption that he never got them. Well, after about 2 weeks' time and asking a few times here and there if they sent them, they said they forgot to send them. I'm like, okay, so I was like a few days away from starting this at that point. Okay, well then, what do? I improvise. I tell them, never mind, it's fine, I got a solution, forget about it. So I 3D printed these crescent moons here, 3D printed them in silk brass, and then I also painted over them with Rust-Oleum, I think it's speckled brass, and also a clear coat on top of that. And the feedback, fantastic. Absolutely phenomenal. I couldn't be happier with them. I was going to try to get a piece of 6mm brass rod and custom machine it myself, but this turned out way better overall because I don't have a lathe or a mill, so you got to work with what you got, right? Okay, that's out of the way. Another thing they did not send, unless I'm mistaken, is these two little grub screws right here, which actually help with chassis and saber sleeve retention. So these are actually 632 screws because the metric ones were very difficult to find, so I retapped this to a 632, threaded them in, and I even drilled a hole through the chassis so it threads into the chassis, so it is rock solid. You can take off this sleeve to actually reveal the entire chassis by removing those two screws, and literally sliding it off. After, of course, you take these inserts out with the 3D printed parts. You can slide it all out. And of course, the chassis is going to move a little bit because these screws will be out, which help hold it in place even more. So that was the main disappointments. Now, on to the good stuff. I will say this. This thing is immaculate. It is awesome. It is slim. The etching is amazing. The overall design is awesome. The blade depth is crazy. There's like 2.5 inches of blade depth with neopixel, which cuts down a little bit more blade depth in most cases. Now, oh man, this etching was actually done by Pete Sandoval of Pete's Powder Emporium. I've seen his work one other time, and you may have even seen the videos that I posted of the KR flagships he did. Wow, this is gorgeous. This is absolutely gorgeous. Keep in mind, this normally looks like that, just bare aluminum. He etched this so exquisitely. It is amazing. It is just a sight to behold. His work is amazing. See, I lose train of thought just looking at it. It's just, I would love to own a hilt etched by him one day. I have one hilt that's etched and powder coated by a Shadowcrest design, which I absolutely love. I'm going to do another video on that as well. Now, back to this. I love this hilt. If there is any Satele to have on the market right now, it is this one. The Saber Forge, it's thicker. I know it's thicker. It's thicker up in here, where this is an actual grip. Theirs is actually one solid diameter. You'll notice it tapers down into what's supposed to be the grip. Also, these are not switches for them. It's just aesthetics. They have two gaping 12mm holes around that area, and that just makes me want to hurl. You can tell I'm already skinny. I need to keep as much food in me as possible. So when I say it makes me want to hurl, that's really bad. Also, their claws are not designed the way these are. These are designed in such an intricate way, and I'll go into that very shortly. But Saberforge's claws are held in place with actual screws. So visible screws are clearly shown. This is awesome. Essentially, the base foundation for these claws is these three pieces. There are Allen head screws on the inside that thread into these, hold these in place. So these are the actual base foundation, and then this is threaded, obviously, and this is threaded at the base. This claw literally latches, it folds and latches around the emitter, all three of them. And the threading is completely opposite. That way, whenever you thread this into here, this threads down. So you have to dial it in perfectly to not have any wobble whatsoever. And there's no Loctite on this, by the way. This was just dialed in perfectly. And use a pair of needle nose pliers with some heat shrink on them. Tighten them up real good and snug. And you got a work of art here, man. It's just amazing. Like, this is one for the books. Also, since we're in America, I made the executive decision to make these, I believe, 632? Yeah, 632 set screws. Blends in very well. So this LED module retention, neopixel, blade retention up here. So you have all that chunk for blade depth. Roughly 2 to 2.5 inches. And like I said earlier, whenever I made this neopixel blade plug, I made it to where it fits really snugly against it. It's nice and flush against the emitter. And whenever you undo the set screw, pops right out. think you're gonna love that, Aaron. Alan? Just watched Jumanji last night. I think it messed with me.
There is power in
Hello there.
Darth Trio.
Yeah. I accidentally activated mute mode there. So being neopixel
Luke Skywalker.
has all the same colors.
Young Lord Vader.
Such a work of art. This is such a work of art. I'm so happy and so honored that I got to install this hilt. I really wish I could have done a staff, but then I would have just been useless. I would have been spoiled rotten. This is amazing, and it being a staff, I would have loved to have done a staff. Maybe one day I'll get the opportunity, but for now, I am ecstatic about this overall. Helvtica could use a little bit of work on their customer service. Their most recent Revan Reborn run was nothing short of disappointing in the hilt size. Quality's there, but you know, like the quality here, it's amazing. It's fantastic, and I was hoping for the same with their Revan, but it was too big. It was way too big. I was expecting a Vader's Vault Revan chest, and we got that. Enough about that. You'll also notice that there are 6 holes in the pommel. So you can either line up the socket screws either in line with the switches or not in line with the switches. That's up to the end user, whatever they want really. That might have something to do also with the coupler. Maybe the coupler uses 6 screws on both sides for extra stability. That would make sense to me, considering that's got to be the strongest point. So yeah, I think I went over everything that I needed to go over here. This will be shipping out for a nice little May the 4th saber for Mr. Sokalski. So I hope you enjoy it, man. May the 4th be with you. And until the next time, Saber fam, may the Force be with you always.